Randolph High School. This is in Vermont. A girls' volleyball team has been banned from its own locker room. The high school officials are investigating a conflict involving a transgender student on the team, meaning a male who identifies as a female. And it's their volleyball team. This is in Vermont. This story is infuriating. So the Randolph High School women's volleyball team, they're now banned from their locker room. The female players had objected to what they said were inappropriate comments that the male student who was allowed to change. Now, remember, the whole transgender thing, you don't have to be a male identifies as a woman and you're attracted to other men. You can still be attracted to other women. The activists made a very big deal about explaining all of this. Under Vermont state law, students can play in sports and use the locker rooms of whatever gender with which they identify. So these female players were having to undress themselves and get naked in front of a male who says he's a woman player who was in their locker room. And when he began, he was alleged to have made very inappropriate remarks to them while they were changing. When the girls became uncomfortable, and these are minor teenage girls, by the way, when the girls became uncomfortable and they objected, they were banned from their locker room. The school sent out an email to players' families saying that the school has plenty of spaces where students who feel uncomfortable with the laws can change in privacy. So they made the girls change in a single bathroom stall. They didn't tell the one single male who wants to identify as a female who insisted on using the girls' locker room. They didn't tell him to go and change in the single person stall. They made an entire girls' volleyball team go and change in the single person stall. Blake Allen is a female player on the team. And she told local news that it makes her incredibly uncomfortable to undress herself in a locker room in front of a boy. And she says, quote, "It's a huge thing. Everyone's asking, why aren't you allowed in the locker room?" And she talked about how uncomfortable it was. It takes the girls now 45 minutes just to change because they all have to use a single stall bathroom. And they're all objecting. The girls are objecting. The girls are saying that we are at our most vulnerable. And they're asking about safety concerns. I mean, this is just, it's just sickening that women are being treated this way. And they said that the dispute, it all began with those comments that the male had been making. And they were made incredibly uncomfortable. They were probably already uncomfortable to begin with. You know, after years of being told to listen to gut instinct, if you felt unsafe walking on, I just remember the story that was so often used as an example to women. If you were walking on one side of the street and there was a male approaching you and you just had a bad feeling, go ahead and cross over to the other side of the street. You know, protect yourself. Always be aware. Women have been told for generations to listen to gut instinct. And when women feel uncomfortable with men being in their spaces, in women's bathrooms, in women's locker rooms, women are shamed, they're bullied, called sexist slurs. And when men demand women's spaces for their comfort, they are immediately accommodated. It's all done at the expense of women. One of the things that gets me is because I know that there are some people out there who say, well, that's, the result of feminism. That's what you get. These feminists that go out there. I really hope that we aren't being so deluded that we universally apply punishment to all of our female friends and wives and daughters for the penalty of progressive third wave feminism. because not every woman would describe herself that way, and nor should every woman be made vulnerable by such a penalty. I think that that's a lazy way to remove nuance and absolve yourself of having to care about the issue, which ultimately actually contributes just as much to it as the feminists that people are blaming for it. I mean, the bottom line is that you have these teenage girls who weren't around when third wave feminism was created, and now they're being bullied and shamed. Remember when slut shaming was bad, but we can shame women for somehow yet feeling unsafe in women's locker rooms if men are changing in there? It's just no. But this is where we're at. Women have to sacrifice. Well, so far the school's investigating, but girls aren't allowed back in their own locker room. So we'll see.